Hi, and welcome to Feed Your Mind and Body Healthy Desserts. Most desserts can be altered and turned into something healthy, but what exactly is healthy? For some, it's low carb, for some, it's low fat, for some, it's low calorie, for others, it's free of dairy, eggs, or other allergens, and for others, still, it's gluten free, vegetarian, or vegan. So, Sam and I are going to try to present some things for everyone. If you're doing low carb, fat bombs are an option. They may sound gross, but they're essentially truffles made from healthy fats. For most, chocolate is still an option as long as it's unsweetened or very dark chocolate. And for the rest, everything in moderation. Fruit and veggies are largely healthy and can be turned into smoothies, sorbet, or even ice cream. There are artificial sweeteners, alternate nut butters, nut milks, soy milk, Greek yogurt, and so many other things to improve the quality of the splurges that you give yourself. Here's Sam with a wonderful suggestion for the cake lovers out there.
Hello everyone! As part of our healthy desserts video, I'm going to show you how to create an olive oil orange cake. The olive oil comes in as a substitute for butter, meaning it is a dairy-free and vegetarian cake. It is not vegan, however, because we do use eggs. For the cake, you will need 3 eggs, 3/4 a cup granulated sugar, 2 small organic oranges, 2/3 cup olive oil, 1.5 cups flour, 2 teaspoons baking powder, a pinch of salt, and confectioner sugar to dust. Make sure you use a very lightly colored to almost transparent olive oil that is meant for baking, not a first press and not a strong, flavorful one. Start by mixing the 3 eggs and 3/4 a cup granulated sugar. You can use your stand mixer or an electric mixer, but you're going to have to do this for at least 8 minutes until we get a light, fluffy, a little bit foamy mixture. So if you have a stand mixer or something that you can use hands-free, that is great. While the sugar and eggs are mixing, we are going to zest our oranges. The recipe calls for 2 small organic oranges because the zest, otherwise known as the rind, is going into our cake. I didn't have organic oranges, so I just made sure to thoroughly clean mine before zesting them. You can get a special tool called a zester for doing this easily. However, if you don't have one, you can use a cheese grater or even a fork. Once our egg and sugar mixture is light, foamy, and fluffy, we will add in our orange zest and then squeeze the juice out of both oranges as well. I did it right into the mixture, which was a big mistake because several orange chunks fell in and then I had to fish them out. So definitely do that into a separate bowl or container. That way you can take out any orange chunks or pieces that fall in before adding them to your mixture. We will also add our 2/3 cup olive oil and then beat for around 1 minute. Next, we will add in our dry ingredients, 1.5 cups standard baking flour, 2 teaspoons baking powder, and a pinch of salt. A lot of baking recipes ask that you mix your dry ingredients separately from your wet ones and then combine them. Well, I'm too lazy to do that many dishes, so rather than put all my dry ingredients in a separate bowl, I just mix them together on top of my wet ingredients. Gently mix together your dry and wet ingredients and then pour them into a greased pan. You want an 8 to 9 inch round baking pan. We will put that into our preheated 350 degree oven for 35 to 40 minutes. However, I checked mine around 30 minutes and it was almost done, so mine was probably baking for around 32 minutes. If your cake is close but not quite ready, you can always turn off the oven and let it coast inside the oven for a couple more minutes. Top your cake with powdered sugar and enjoy. I'd never made a cake with olive oil instead of butter before, and I was surprised by how light and fluffy it was. And even though I was using a super light baking olive oil, I was still nervous that I would be able to taste it, and I really couldn't. It's actually really good. So give it a try, and I hope you enjoy it.
One of my favorite year-round desserts to make is banana ice cream, except there's no cream, and in fact, there are no other ingredients other than bananas. Therefore, as it is, it's low fat, low calorie, lower carb, gluten-free, dairy-free, vegetarian, and vegan. This is a super simple recipe and really delicious. Just freeze some bananas. You can peel and cut them before freezing them, or just shove them in the freezer whole like I did. They don't get solid like ice, so it's still easy to slice and peel them even when they're frozen. So take your cut up bananas and puree them in a food processor, and you have instant soft serve banana ice cream. To this, you can add whatever you like. Nut butter is one of my favorites. Also, you can add other fruits. You can add chocolate, nuts, and another favorite of mine is to add cookies. I have these sugar-free oatmeal cookies, and throwing 2 of those in with my bananas was so yummy. And the consistency is just divine. You can make larger batches and freeze it again too. While we're talking about bananas and fruit, how about some chocolate-covered fruit? Dark chocolate is best, followed by semi-sweet, but if it's just a drizzle, milk and white chocolate may still work depending on your diet. Personally, I can't stand dark chocolate, and semi-sweet is only tolerable in small amounts, so that's what I keep on hand. All I'm going to do is put a small handful into a baggie and then microwave it until it's softened. My microwave needed 90 seconds, but I would recommend doing it in 30-second intervals until the chips melt, and then you won't burn them or melt the baggie. I squish all of the chocolate to one corner, and I'm going to use it to turn it into a makeshift piping bag by snipping off the corner. Then I drizzle it all over my favorite fruit. Please note that using chips is going to render the chocolate fairly hard when it cools, and it won't adhere well to your fruit if you dip it in or if you put a lot of chocolate on the fruit. You need to add a neutral oil to help with adhering. For just a small plate of cut up fruit though, it's perfect. Lastly, I intended to show you how to make chocolate mousse in a healthy way out of avocados, and the recipe is in your bag, but my avocados didn't cooperate. You know how they are. I bought these a week ago with the hopes of them ripening for the video, and they're still rock hard. So I tried to cut them up anyway and follow the instructions on the recipe, but they just wouldn't puree no matter how long I processed them. So you can try this when you have a soft, ripe avocado. Otherwise, don't even bother. And really, that's how cooking goes. So Sam and I thank you for joining us again for another installment of Feed Your Mind and Body. Join us next month when we tackle pumpkins. Gee, I wonder what we're going to put in your kits.